All right, let's go a little deeper in the area of discovery. There are different techniques that people use for capturing the data that is uncovered in the interview. David, share with us some of the advantages and disadvantages of what we would call traditional data capture, and that is the yellow pad capturing notes.
Oftentimes advisors, just like myself years ago, would take a legal pad out and have a lot of information, whether it be in my briefcase or my folio or my satchel even, and have that all laying out in front of the client. And as the client maybe is talking, I'm writing as fast as I could so possibly write. And then ultimately what's going to happen is I'll have page after page after page of notes and trying to figure out, okay, was that the spouse or the partner talking, or was that a child, and putting little notes and shorthanding it. And then obviously I have to take that back and either I input that information or give it to a staff member and he or she would input that information. And there's just a lot of cumbersome ideas in which could be improved upon there. However, there are a lot of advisors that really love writing the information down and dictating it, if you will, word for word of what the client would say. I always found my practice kind of morphed into, I would put my pen down and actually watch the client talk and watch their facial expressions, and then all of a sudden get to the end of the meeting and notice that I'd only written down 2 or 3 sentences, and then get in the car later going, do I remember what Bill said? And then all of a sudden you lose some transition there. So obviously that old line, and you say traditional, but that way some advisors have found a lot of success with it, but there are obviously ways in which, Bill, we could improve upon that with some of the technology that's out there.
A lot of people are using profile tools now, and they're filling that information out in analog version, right? And they're taking their notes in the profile tool, and that profile tool happens to match the data that needs to be put into the financial planning software. So it's really efficient. It's an efficient way for them to capture the information so that when they go to transfer it into the financial planning software, they don't get confused about what data goes where. But the CRM tools and the financial planning tools are morphing, and they're becoming even more sophisticated. So when you think about the technology stack that advisors are starting to put in place right now, those financial planning software programs actually can be accessed by the client through the client portal. And so now what they're trying to do is transfer the data entry of the facts that we're trying to accumulate that will go into the software to generate the future recommendations. They're trying to get the client to do that entry work. And clients, for the most part, don't seem to mind putting their own information into those systems. Now, the nice thing about that is it leaves then the advisor, when they're having a conversation with the client, to talk about the feelings and the family dynamics, which is what those profile tools and the financial planning software doesn't capture. And that's really important. So when you think about tech's approach in general, whether it's apps on your phone or this financial planning software that's out there, what they're trying to do is to create really convenient user experiences. And so they're taking complex and complicated topics around your financial life and situation, and they're really boiling them down to what they call the essence of the issue. The problem with that is it leaves out all the nuanced detail that makes it so rich and for you to be able to understand what's actually happening behind the scenes. So those conversations become really important to have, even if you're using the technology, right? So when we think about that, tech also creates some opportunities for us to capture the information, and at the same time that we're inputting it, it also shows the impact of that information on the total plan. So it's sort of happening in real time, which is another really cool time-saving device. Plus, as the client shares, you add more information to it, it fleshes out that financial picture and the implications of choices that can be talked about right then and there. So it compresses the time to get the client to both provide the information that you need and also to help think through what the solutions ought to be. So it's really a fascinating time to be an advisor and take advantage of all of this technology right now.